What's up, everybody? It's Wes, Hank, and Andy, and we are back. It's is it Sunday night?
No.
It's a random Tuesday.
I don't even know what day it is anymore.
It's so random. It's not
a
random at all.
All of this talk with people being ill the last few days, and I don't know if it's and I haven't even been in contact with anybody, and I feel like I'm awful today.
Well, it has been a marathon weekend.
Yeah, it has. We've been busy. I've been busy.
Oh, man.
The longest episode ever.
We did, yeah. We had our longest live stream ever at nearly 3 hours as we wrapped up the.
We were over 3.
We were
almost 4 hours.
Sorry,
we were just
you're right.
Shy of 4.
You're right.
Yeah.
Almost 4 hours. What am I talking about?
It didn't feel like it.
Cool content.
No, it didn't. We had lots to talk about, and then
That
we had our Disney Star Wars roundtable that evening, and I thought that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Was a lot of fun.
First comment coming into the night.
Oh, that's great. The Retro Tinker. Hello, sir. Good day, everyone. I'm working, unfortunately, so I'll have to check back the replay later. Have a great stream. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Check us out on the eternal web.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tonight we are finally getting to our Star Wars Day show, and that was, of course, Tales of the Empire. Slight change of plans, though.
Yeah. True to the spirit of Star Wars, we're going to be covering episodes 4, 5, and 6 first.
That's right. We are going to cover just half of the series tonight to give Andy a little bit more time to fix up some stuff that he wants to do. And we are glad to let him do that because we didn't have anything planned anyway. So we have the time. But before we handed things over to Hank, we should probably open with another round of
Bad Star Wars jokes.
I have 2 tonight, and I'm not sure which one is better. That means I'm not sure which one is worse. Guys, a hut slithers into a food court, and an attendant says, "You know, we have a pizza shop named after you." And the hut says, "You have a pizza place named Jabba Desaligic Tier?" That's for the hardcore fans.
Nice.
But in case you're not one of those, why are you watching us? But in case you're not one of those, why didn't stormtroopers mind the COVID-19 quarantine?
Oh, I don't know. Why did stormtroopers not mind the COVID-19 protocol?
Well, they're used to missing people. All right.
Well done.
I thought for sure it was going to be like they missed the shot.
Well done. May the 4th. May the 4th came and went. Star Wars Day just this past weekend. We got all 6 episodes of Tales of the Empire, very much in the same or similar style as last year's or earlier. Last year.
Yeah, last year's Tale of the Jedi.
Last year's Tales of the Jedi.
Despite our thoughts that that's what
they actually ran them in sequence.
This is so we talked about this before, and Hank, didn't you say you thought they ran them chronologically?
I thought they were chronological before, and
I feel that way as well.
That would remain true, I think.
Yeah. In this one as well.
Yeah. Well, with the exception being the last of Andy's episodes, I think that one's way in the future.
I'm convinced it takes no more than like 2 weeks prior to episode 5 of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow.
That
just based on the events.
stress signal pretty much goes straight to Ahsoka's ears after it reaches.
Yeah. 2 distinct storylines here. Obviously, one following Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth before she heads off to Peridia with Grand Admiral Thrawn. The other one, the one we're going to cover tonight, Barriss Offee. Barriss Offee and her fate after imprisonment.
After the trial.
Was anybody expecting that?
As soon as we got the trailer, I knew what we were in for, but I was misdirected again.
They did lay a bunch of hints at us, right?
Yes, they did.
Grogu being right across from Barriss's room in the flashback.
Oh, I know. Hey, look, there's her room in the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
I thought it was pointing to something more. Like I had said, we'll get into it, but like I had said, at least some of my bad guys, I want to remain bad guys.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I mean, inevitably, Anakin is, so Palpatine doesn't have any redeemable qualities that we know of, save maybe cloning the proper granddaughter, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say his propagating of Ray,
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
he wasn't
But
exactly an attentive
her
father.
grandfather.
so arguably the second worst guy that we're privy to is Vader, knee Anakin, and so the worst of us can come back. Then I think they might be running with that too much and saying like, well, if the worst of us can come back, then all of us can come back.
Interesting.
So is there really a hold on the dark side, or is it always a temporary, like, do you repent on your deathbed kind of thing? Obviously, Maul didn't.
Yeah, no.
Well,
he
in
did
a
not.
way, though, he certainly softened. There was some sort of neutrality to Maul in the very end.
I think about his last line. I just watched that
Right.
sequence again. His last line. He will avenge us.
Right.
Ooh.
Us.
Us
You and
as
me,
in us,
Obi.
us as in Ben and Maul?
him. Yes.
Is that what he's referring to? Or was
That's
he
what I
making
always thought.
Whereas in Us the Sith,
us the Sith, us the bad guys?
See, I always
me and
thought
my
he
brother
meant
Savage.
it was personal. He will avenge us. He's going to
Interesting.
right this problem with the Force, good or bad.
Oh, that's a great interpretation. I like that.
But you got to remember, the Force is always in motion.
Always in motion.
That is true. Want to check in with the chat right now. Gaz, all
Gazzer.
hail the glorious Sith Empire. Wow.
Like an old buddy. How many people have I spent 4 hours talking about Star Wars with? Love that guy.
We're all friends now.
Welcome, buddy.
We're all old friends. All right, man. You want to get this thing rocking?
Yeah, I'm gonna
All right, let's do it. Let me
pop that right up there.
just swap a Rooney some
Yep.
stuff here. There we go.
Here.
Here
Beauty.
we are.
Beauty.
And there.
Boom.
Okay.
Take it
All
away,
right.
sir.
Okay. Well, so like you said, Tales of the Empire originally, it's easy to remember. It was May 4th, 2024. And all 6 episodes dropped. So I'm not going to hammer that on the head as we jump episode to episode.
Yeah.
It is Tales of the Empire. It is episode 4, and it is entitled Devoted. Story by Dave Filoni, which he gets a story credit on every episode. I think even the first 3 episodes.
Yep.
Written by Nicholas Ennis. I'm going to bugger this one up. Anastasio.
I think that's what that says.
And
Sorry.
directed by Chai Rodriguez. Directed by Saul Ruiz. I'm not we're in good hands. We're in good shape. All 3 of those names we know from
No strangers to the
from other
franchise.
properties.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Runtime 1604 with bookends, or 1350 without. Interestingly, the 3rd episode has an identical runtime. It's almost 6 seconds left.
Oh, wow.
But it's very close. So let's jump right into here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Barriss Offee primer. So at the risk of being redundant, I think we've covered her.
You can never do that.
No, I think we've covered her pretty extensively in the Ahsoka stuff. I covered her really extensively in the Road to Ahsoka Hanks special episode.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know,
that catalog.
That's right. Please do. And I can't imagine if you're watching our show that you wouldn't be one of the people who already knows Barriss Offee. But on the offhand chance, Barriss Offee was the Padawan learner to Jedi Master Luminary Unduli. Now, if I asked you a trivia question about her first canon appearance, you guys know that? I might stump you.
First
canon appearance.
You're gonna. So it's not the obvious one, is what you're telling me.
Okay, well, if you said Attack of the Clones, you'd only be partially right, because she appeared first in the Dark Horse Comics adaptation of Attack of the Clones,
which would have been published
which
just
predated
before
the movie a few weeks before. Absolutely,
That's right.
Yeah, that's a cool little. Yeah.
Nice.
Of course, we saw her in the second prequel installment alongside her master and council member in Palpatine's office, and again on the ground at the first Battle of Geonosis. She would pop up in comics and novels with cameos, but it wasn't until the Clone Wars animated series that we really got to know the young Force user. Considered a prodigy with the Force, Barriss preferred to study to combat, never fully embracing the new military mandate that the Clone Wars necessitated. Finding a close friend in Ahsoka Tano, Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, the two shared several adventures, twice nearly meeting their demise. Barriss was quick to point out that many of Skywalker's method, and therefore her friends, didn't exactly align with what her master had taught her and her own visions of what the Jedi should be. This led the young Jedi to begin to find flaws in the Jedi, and even in her own words, hypocrisy. It was this belief that led her dangerously close to the dark side of the Force. Barriss manages to steal Asajj Ventress's lightsabers and execute a plot to bomb the Jedi Temple and implicate her once dear friend Ahsoka. Ahsoka eventually exonerated when her master learned the true identity of the bomber, and Barriss Offee engaged Skywalker in lightsaber combat, but was easily bested by the war hero. This led to Ahsoka rejecting the order, much the same as Barriss had done, albeit in a much more peaceful way, eventually leading Anakin down a dark path that he would see his own disillusionment twisted and manipulated by a secret Sith Lord, come Chancellor Palpatine. Barriss was arrested and convicted of treason against the Republic, and now you're up to speed.
Oh, well done.
Nice.
Gaz has a thought he wants to share with us.
Yeah,
He
man.
says, I think if a Jedi falls to the dark side, then there will always be a path back to the light. But if a Sith who is trained solely as a Sith, there is not the path to the light.
Well, that's probably a good bet.
Do we have any instances of like on-screen instances? I mean, I guess other than like, do we just assume Palpatine was just born evil?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we don't hear anything about his,
Yeah.
history. He was just at a Sith master. So
there's
Yeah.
extensive stuff, and I think it's the Pelagius novel where he's like able to hide his his first ability is to be able to hide his Force abilities,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah,
That's kind of
Interesting.
his special trick. Bum, 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 bum. Just quickly, let's introduce our cast because they remain mostly the same throughout all the episodes. So I won't double down on the main cast members, but there's actually some pretty funny stuff here. So just quickly, let's introduce our cast. As always, with these shorts, the cast tend to be a pretty tight-knit group. Returning as Barriss Offee is Meredith Salinger, voiced Barriss throughout the Clone Wars animated series. You'll all recognize her. Rhea Kilstead makes her Star Wars voice acting debut, bringing her character from the fourth sister of the Inquisitorius over from her live action appearance in the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus miniseries. So that's the live action actor lending her voice to the character.
Nice.
Pretty much
looks a whole lot different without prosthetics. let me tell you.
really, yeah, absolutely. Super cool. Where are we here? Jason Isaac returns to find form reprising the animated version of the Grand Inquisitor.
Was anybody surprised by his return? I kind of thought they were going to use the live action actor.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, so was I.
I prefer this sort of version. Taking nothing away from the live action actor. Absolutely, we need both. It's just I've become so accustomed to this voice, and I guess it's just flight time, hours played. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
We have Zeno Robinson, who voices former Jedi Amar. Nicholas Canty plays the Capex Dante, former Jedi. And D. Bradley Baker has a single line as a Coruscant Guard clone trooper.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
But not
Glad
to be
you're not a Jedi
upstaged.
now.
Not to be upstaged. A scuba respirator reprises its timeless role as the breathing of Darth Vader.
Yeah, not a single spoken line, but he's in there.
Yeah, that's the only star of the show that's never getting proper credit is that respirator. Amid the sounds of battle and lightsabers swishing, blaster fire, and blood-curdling scream, Barriss Offee jolts awake inside her Republic prison cell. I have no doubt that the nightmare was a vision of her master's death during the opening hours of Order 66. Standing and peering out a thin window into the Coruscant night, she sees the Jedi Temple off in the distance, burning, smoke trailing high into the sky as the temple is rocked by explosions. She rushes to the ray-shielded door, banging on the wall, yelling for a trooper to tell her what's happening. A pair of clones clad in the red and white details of the Coruscant Guard stand before her cell. "Are we under attack?" she pleads. "Just be glad you're not a Jedi anymore. By tomorrow, they won't exist." And that's D. Bradley Baker's lunch money that day.
Yep. Anybody else surprised that Barriss got a front seat to the action there of the burning Jedi Temple?
I mean, that's a good shot. I didn't really. So it's pretty far away. Like you're looking at like that's a mountain on the horizon, but
I presume this is
never occurred to me they were that sort of close. Like you never really get a proximity shot ever.
Well, we've seen we've seen this angle before, and so
Mm.
this leads me to believe that this is in the Republic, or soon the Imperial military headquarters, that there is a prison in that building.
That's right. And
And then-
Tarkin's mandate that they both, her and Ahsoka, get military trials. So
Yes.
they're going to be tried as
Yeah.
Jedi and then not. Yeah.
And this basically answers what we were thinking, right? Because we were wondering, was she just confined to her room in the temple, or was she shipped off to a prison?
Right. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Alone again in the red glow of her cell, Barriss contemplates what the guards could possibly mean as she gazes out her diminutive window and the Jedi temple burns in the distance. Yeah, she got a cell with a window. My neighbor gets a window with a glass. I get a window with a glass. At dawn, rain beats down. Have we ever seen it rain on Coruscant?
That's a good question.
You know, it's like mood lighting, if you will.
They
you know what I
talk
mean?
about the weather being controlled, that there's like giant weather machines
That's
in
what
the
I thought.
atmosphere that
That's what
control
I-
it.
That's what I thought.
So if it's raining,
Yeah.
is something broken?
Well,
I
no,
don't
they just
know.
needed to put the fire out at the temple.
Oh,
You know that,
maybe.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Cue the
Just
rain.
turn the machines off and let her go.
Wicked. At dawn, rain beats down on the city planet as 3 Republic gunships approach the Republic military installation housing the prison. Barriss is awakened by someone familiar to her. Stand up, Barriss Offee. A Miralam woman stands in the doorway of the cell in Jedi-type clothing, albeit muted tones of gray and black. Barriss recognizes the woman immediately, calling her by her first name. Lynn? The ray shield drops and the woman and her 2 escort troopers enter the dim cell. I don't go by that name anymore. Things have changed. She steps into the low light and it's revealed to us that this is the 4th sister of the Inquisitress. One of the scalpels that Darth Sidious, now Galactic Emperor, hopes to eradicate the remaining Jedi with. Sitting up, Barriss asks, "What does the Council want?" "I'm not here on behalf of the Council," the 4th sister returns. She reminds the prisoner she is serving a life sentence for crimes against the Republic. But at your trial, you accuse the Jedi of murder and treason, and it seems you were right after all. The Jedi tried to assassinate Chancellor Palpatine. The former Jedi wants to know what this means for her. Drawing in her breath, the 4th sister explains, "It means I am here to present you with an opportunity, Barriss, a rare and precious opportunity. Will you take it?" But before she can even roll the thought around in her mind, the clone guards cock their blasters, one of them pointing the weapon directly at her. Barriss, understanding that this is no choice at all, offers her a cupped hands to the 4th sister, who with a wave of the Force frees Barriss, and the binders drop with a metallic clank on the floor. Cut to title card. Tales of the Empire. Devoted.
How long do you guys think that this scene is after the opening scene with her watching the burning temple? Do you think this is like days, weeks, months?
I would think at least weeks.
So I even put it in my first stanza. I interpret this as hours after Order 66 is given.
Hours.
That dream she's having is her feeling her master being killed.
Yeah, for sure. That totally. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I just feel there's a little bit of ambiguity. We've had time for the fire to go out.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
Well,
Vader
this-
just didn't pop up with the Inquisitors overnight.
no.
Because he would have had to pick his, what did he have, 3 at the beginning?
Ooh.
That we will come to find out.
Well, Sidious
least
already
he's
had
chosen.
a few in play.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah,
well, that
he
could change
basically
things.
hands the program over to Vader. in the
Vader.
comics. Right.
Here's
Okay.
the thing with Lynn and her showing up in this, we'll call it civilian dress.
Hmm.
Is she actually an Inquisitor yet? Because there's a couple ways you can think about this. She is an Inquisitor, and her showing up dressed like this is to soften the blow to Barriss when she makes the offer.
Yeah.
The other way to think about it is she's not an Inquisitor yet. She's just, she's been
I think it's the
brought into the
Soft
program.
recruited.
Yeah, like
She does say, "I don't go by that name anymore. Things have changed." So she has a new name.
We think that she's got the sister
The
title
moniker?
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing I
think it
didn't
would be
do.
easier.
Yeah. The thing I didn't
Easier,
do.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than having like a Darth Vaderish Sith Lord come into your cell saying, "Hey, come with me."
Gaz says it's in the Evil Imperial Empire Handbook, page 456, subparagraph 43, subsection 66. It should always rain during Imperial rule.
Nice. It's just got that vibe to it. Where am I here? Oh no, I'm on to the next one.
You're exactly where you should be.
I'm exactly where I should be, like a wizard. In space, a Phi-class shuttle approaches the Mustafar system. I'm not sure if this is the Psi itself, or if they have many.
For sure, this is the same class of ship that we
For
saw.
sure, it's the
in
same
Kenobi.
class. I just wasn't sure whether it was the Psi in particular.
I just assumed that they had more than one.
Yeah, me too. That's sort
You'd
of the
think
way I
so.
kind of It vectors towards the water moon of Nur, flying low over the. The shuttle approaches the Mustafar system and vectors low over the water of the moons of Nur. Flying low over the dark waters, the ship sets down on the landing pan of the Fortress Inquisitoris, still very much in its early construction phase.
That was a surprise for me.
Yeah, that's
to
cool.
see it this way. I thought when we saw that, we're going back to Fortress Inquisitoris, I thought it was already in play.
Yeah,
But
so this
turns
is
out
super
not
early
yet.
in the game for sure.
Yeah.
The fourth sister leads Barriss down the landing ramp, followed by a squad of clone troopers. Just a minor, like a side note, these are all white. Like they came with her from Coruscant.
Yep.
They're all white clone troopers. So just kind of like
we're in that transition.
Put a pin in that for a
transitory
phase.
Yeah.
They head into the fortress and eventually a room where two males wait in front of an ominous black-clad Utapawan. Barriss knows both boys and calls them by name, Dante and Amar, saying it's nice to see a familiar face. Dante is a Capex and Amar is undisclosed alien race, which I couldn't pin it down. I don't know if anybody else could.
I couldn't find anything. No. I think this is a new species being introduced.
It looks like a cross between a Gotal and a Deberonian.
Yeah, really.
Maybe they're just smashing assets together now.
Maybe.
Barriss. Meow. What is that saying? Meow. I wrote.
All right.
Meow that you have all arrived. Now that you have all arrived, we may begin. The Grand Inquisitor speaks. You are here because the Jedi failed the Republic. And now that they're gone, we must build a new coven to ensure the security of our empire. I thought it was an interesting choice of words, a coven. Group of witches. Yeah. Barriss speaks out, questioning. What empire? The Grand Inquisitor continues, the Republic has been reorganized into the First Galactic Empire, Barriss Offee. Out of chaos, Emperor Palpatine will bring order. But the task will not be easy. His vision must be protected at all costs. Prove yourselves worthy of this task today, and you may join us. He then dismisses the trio to their quarters, cautioning them not to leave until they meet again.
Cool. Another one from Gaz. He says, Darth Sidious would have, I believe, had more Jedi or grayish Jedi easily swayed under the influence other than Count Dooku and Anakin.
I would think he's got a bunch of stuff in his pocket.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. If he's not like directly recruiting his own, cadre like Maul, like a direct recruiting, he's probably got his lightning bolts and a few
few different pies.
Where are we here? Boom.
Don't leave.
As a pair of clone troopers stride down.
I think you skipped one there.
Did I?
I think so.
Yeah, wind up. There you go. Now go back to where
it's
you
up
were
in
reading.
The corner. I see.
Yeah, there you go.
As a pair of clone troopers stride down a hallway, we pan to a stark room that feels more like a cell than quarters. Inside, the three former Jedi discuss the situation. Both boys pace the room as Barriss sits calmly on a bench. We need to get out of here, Amar offers worriedly. Dante doesn't agree, but Amar feels that the Grand Inquisitor's what the Grand Inquisitor said doesn't sound any better than the Jedi. Sitting, whatever this is, it's not what we thought. But the door isn't locked, and Amar strides through its threshold, turning back for an instant when Barriss finally intones, I wouldn't. He wants to know why they should listen to her. He stares at Dante, but the Capex boy just avoids his gaze. Amar begins to walk away, but Dante calls after him. What about us? What happens when they find out you're gone? Amar, turning back, glares. That's not my problem. And he strides off down the corridor, and the door closes behind him.
I mean,
kind of a dark
how
side.
Brazen do you have to be?
I'm just going to walk out of here.
We're in the evil fortress with the evil guys. It's all black and red. Like it's all bad juju here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to walk around unescorted.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of cockiness and going against the grain might might attract the bad guys to that.
I
guy.
half-ass wondered that if that he was going to be sort of, come back later on to be like another test.
Yeah, it's not very. Yeah, Gaz said
That's not very Jedi, dude.
it's true.
Wah, 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 wah.
Later that evening, as Dante paces and Barriss calmly meditates on the cell floor, the door abruptly slides open, and the fourth sister, flanked by two black-clad clone troopers, tells the pair coolly, "Follow me." So this is why I wanted to put a pin in that. Like, we've already got purge troopers here.
Are we calling them purge troopers?
That's what the scriptive audio guy calls them.
That's interesting.
It is interesting to me because, like, those
Phase
look
one,
like the paint's probably not dry on those uniforms,
because
like,
our phase one purge troopers wear the helmet of the it's like a Space Corps helmet that they wear, all black. That looked to me like it was a standard clone, like a
right,
phase
but
two
just
clone.
painted black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More in line with Crosshair's elite squad from
that's-
season 1 of the Bad Batch.
Right, exactly what I was getting at. Yeah. The Inquisitor leads the kids to a small chamber past many more black-clad clones to where the Grand Inquisitor awaits them. By the time we're done this, I'll have said Inquisitor so many times it'll make you sick, by the way.
Not for me, man. I love them.
Turning, he addresses them. "Your friend had a terrible accident." He tosses the blue gem that Amar had been wearing embedded in his chin to the floor. It clinks down, obviously covered in blood. "Sadly, we must proceed without him." Dante claims, "I told him not to go." He's stealing her shine because he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Grand Inquisitor replies that you were wise before it. And it's funny, like, a lot of the language in this is like the bad guys being good guys.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
he imparts a lesson to her in a minute that she carries through to the third episode. It's really cool, actually. "You were wise before addressing the fourth sister. Please take the boy." And with that, she turns to leave as Dante follows. He asks Barriss to come with him and leads her to a door which reveals a stairwell down to an antechamber. Rising on a lift, they finally arrive at a semicircular chamber containing a shelf or table with many lightsabers laid out before them. He tells Barriss, "The lessons you learned from the Jedi greatly limit your power. Using the Force, a saber leaps to his hand. But I will show you how to overcome this weakness." He offers the young Force user the weapon. She doesn't understand, but he tells her to take it and attack him with it. Hesitant, she steps forward, taking the saber hilt, worried that "You're not armed." But he assures her calmly, "I don't need to be." He steps back a few paces, squaring off with Barriss, his hands behind his back. She ignites the blade as it snaps to life, casting a green glow around the room.
Were you at any point, tempted to go back to the Kenobi series to see if you could match any of the lightsabers?
I thought about it. I was on such a time crunch, though.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I honestly, if I had a week to do the notes like we kind of normally do, I would have jammed a few more things in here. Maybe had 10,000 words instead of.
What? I got one other question for you. What's the deal with the alcoves in the wall?
I don't know. Maybe that's where they put their slippers.
Yeah.
but there definitely are alcoves.
Everybody's got their cubby when they show up for kindergarten, right?
And so here's a sort of another indication that they've been at it for a bit.
Yeah.
There's 10 or 15 sabers there. I think we see 6 or 10.
Yeah.
So if they're not from the temple when it first fell, then they've been active.
Because
by the time we get to Kenobi, there's a room full of them
in the throne room.
Yeah.
They're rimmed around the throne room.
Right. So ostensibly dozens, or if not 100, maybe, or more.
Yeah.
You guys got one here. I was thinking the same thing.
Use your hatred and strike me down.
Right.
Without saying it, but the same damn lesson he tried to use on Luke.
Dibs on the left, Cuddy.
Nice.
Love it.
We'll just scratch your name in Orabesh above it.
That's right.
Barriss takes up a ready position, swinging sloppily twice as the Dark Leader easily sidesteps her attacks, telling her, "You're holding back. It makes you predictable. Try again." Barriss presses again, this time more aggressively, but he still manages to avoid all her strikes as if she were not even there. His tone changes. "Stop fighting like a Jedi. Attack." She sweeps at his legs, but which he just manages to avoid telling her, better. She presses the attack, missing with every swing as he deftly lands a blow to her face with a palm strike. Bleeding from the nose, she swipes wildly again, this time scoring a hit off the Grand Inquisitor's right shoulder pauldron. Now I feel your anger. He's almost excited. She thrusts again, but he easily grabs her sword hand and force pushes her high into the air, striking the wall and the ceiling. She tumbles to the floor, lightsaber tumbling from her hand. Mercy only breathes defeat. He glowers over her as her blood drips to the floor. She clenches a fist and begins. As he begins, perhaps you are not as powerful as we. Barriss, summoning her power and anger, uses the force to push him back hard to the table of lightsabers. He's staggered, maybe even a little surprised. Barriss labors to her feet as he wipes his own blood from the corner of his mouth, an evil grin crawling across his pale face. And I have to say, she force pushed him there, right?
Yes, she
Yeah.
did.
Blood came out of his mouth, right?
Yes.
That's internal hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, she basically
Yeah.
crushed his
We might have broken a rib.
his
Yeah.
innards there with that throw.
And that's not the first time I'm going to talk about how friggin' powerful she is. Because I mentioned that she was considered, even by the rest of the Jedi, a prodigy. And we've
Yeah.
never even heard that word like used when we're speaking about Anakin. Although Chosen One gets banded around and that probably goes to your head. But she's the only one I've ever considered a prodigy.
Yeah.
Like her natural abilities were just off the chain. Two purge troopers, so identified by descriptive audio, lead Barriss Offee past two rows of black-clad clones into a dimly red-lit cave with a large circular crevasse in the center that drops into blackness. Am I on the right slide? I am. Yeah.
Yep.
I believe you are. Yeah.
Yeah. On the far side of the chamber, on a high platform, both Grand and Fourth Inquisitors stand looking down upon the room. The Utapawan, former Jedi Temple Guard, speaks. I must confess, you've impressed us. You both have. And with that, the double doors slide back open behind Barriss and Dante enters the room. Unfortunately, there is only room for one in our ranks. The Inquisitor leader informs them, and so you must face one final test. He tosses the lightsaber hilt to the floor below, and it lands between the two candidates. He tells them they can choose not to fight, of course, as a red circular ray shield drops from the ceiling, extending all the way to the floor, in which case, both of you will die. The circular shield begins to close around them, and its diameter slowly growing towards the pit in the center, slowly burning the floor as it moves. Barriss tells Dante, we don't have to do this. They won't kill us. But Dante points out coldly, they killed Damar, didn't they?
So naive.
But did they? Or is it just another misdirect?
Oh, it could be.
I don't
Come on
know.
in, let me rip that thing off.
They certainly ripped a jewel off of him.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yes. Maybe not the family jewels, but
Internal hemorrhaging means nothing to a Sith.
right. It's not like
Merely a flesh wound.
it's not like he was run through with a lightsaber
Twice. Looking at you, Riva.
Everyone, yeah, him too.
Everyone.
Qui-Gon.
Him too.
Yes, everybody but Qui-Gon.
And this series won't leave us hanging either.
No.
Calling on the Force, the lightsaber leaps to Dante's hand, and in one motion he ignites its red blade and launches a high, downward leaping attack on Barriss. Grabbing the lightsaber in both Dante's hands, she effortlessly redirects the attack to the floor with a shower of sparks before extinguishing the laser sword. What are you doing? She begs. Embracing the future, he replies, attempting to physically knock her back into the pit. He's able to reignite the saber, but not before she can force push him to the other side of the pit, putting a distance between the two opponents. Barriss attempts a leaping kick, but Dante drives her back, nearly into the ray shield. The pair exchange a flurry of punches and kicks before Barriss is knocked into the shield. Absorbing the energy with her shoulder, she stumbles to the ground. Dante, rearmed with the Sith weapon, leaps once again, this time sure of a killing blow. But suddenly his expression turns from fiery anger to surprise, and then panic, as he clutches at his throat. With the ray shield mere feet from the pit edge, Barriss uses the force to choke Dante, lifting him into the air, crushing his windpipe as her fist clenches. Lifeless, Dante stumbles back into the deep pit.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hardcore, man.
Hardcore. As the ray shield recedes into the ceiling, a lift begins to descend, and the two Darksiders join Barriss on the ground. The fourth sister steps forward reverently, handing Barriss a black helmet, strongly resembling the one worn by Asajj Ventress in her bounty hunting days.
kind of thought the same thing myself.
Yeah, like they just painted it.
At least they gave her a cool helmet. And
Yeah,
the
it's
other
very
thing I was
cool.
thinking of, this thing could have came right out of the Clone Operative program. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
not
true.
unlike who was it in Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Fallen Order? Was that the
One of the
fifth sister?
Yeah, I think so.
Very similar.
She's right there. She's too. I can't. She's way high.
Too far out of reach.
She's way up there. Yep. Welcome,
Take that,
sister.
you Shia reject.
Barriss Offee accepts the helmet, staring into the blackness of its visor.
We got a good morning from Zazel, all the way over in Australia. How are you, sir?
Good day. Thanks for joining us. Sometime later, Barriss stands before the Grand Inquisitor, clad in black stylized armor, holding the helmet in front of her. I've had the same thought about Ahsoka during her trial. What are the chances that the Grand Inquisitor was one of the guards who escorted Barriss to her trial?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, when did he turn? Exactly.
That's an interesting thought,
Yeah.
too.
The leader beckons that, brothers, sister, join us. And as the door slides open behind her, the fourth sister and two other male Inquisitors join her in formation. They are Merrick from the Ahsoka Tano live action show and the Mystery Inquisitor from Ahsoka's Final Tales episode, respectively. As of yet, neither has been given a definitive number, so along with our protagonist, there are 3 unnumbered Inquisitors in this scene with 4 Inquisitors.
Yeah.
The 4 all take a knee. Prostrate before the Grand Inquisitor, Barriss is the last to follow suit. Now it is time to meet your new master. And a black armored figure strides through the door. A familiar, ominous, ragged breathing device lets us all know what we need to. Darth Vader, fists clenched in eternal hatred and anger, takes a seat in a central throne. The Grand Inquisitor commands that they rise, Inquisitors, proclaiming, "Long live the Empire." Barriss slowly dons the black helmet as it snaps into place with the hiss of the pressurization. Her voice altered. She speaks, "Long live the Empire." Cut to black.
There's this long, they just hang on that for a few seconds where it's like
she's almost not sure she wants to fully commit, but then
it's that it's what we know.
Yeah.
And it's for our benefit. It's what we know. We know that she's Barriss Offee. We know that he's Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
But it's like, are they staring each other down? What's going on here?
Do they sense each other's presence?
I don't know.
That's possible, but on on the surface, she has no idea who he is, and he fully knows who she is.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He
damn near killed her.
Yes, and if any part of him is still Anakin in there, and at this point we know that to be true, especially from the comics, that he's fighting that so hard. His hatred of Barriss vis-a-vis his relationship with Ahsoka and the way that broke him in the Clone Wars animated.
Yep.
I mean, if she had gone on to be an Inquisitor, I think she might have been mostly cyborg, because he had a habit of cutting their limbs off to train them and teach them about loss and stuff.
He'd finally got that angst out that he wanted to before.
Add to his hand collection.
Doug's here tonight. He says, "I've been waiting for this conversation."
Which nice. Which one in particular?
Yeah, really.
Just about the Inquisitors, or Barriss in general.
I could talk Inquisitors all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But so far, I have to say, what are your general feelings on the first episode? Because I'm fully engaged. I'm fully on board. This is what I thought was going to happen to Barriss.
We'd suspected this quite a while ago, and I think there was some talk about that at one time, official talk about making her an Inquisitor.
And I was super excited, and like I had said on Sunday, I'm not always excited to follow the path of the bad guy. But I found this to be a very engaging, because she's almost autonomically exhibiting Jedi traits.
Yep.
She's the boys are pacing in the cell and she's meditating.
Oh yeah, sitting in the corner, not saying a word.
She's questioning authority with relevant things, not why are we all dressed in black, but what's the Empire? Why, what's happened here in the bigger picture? It's kind of neat. Just before we jump into the second episode, I just want to dart and get a glass of water.
Of course, yeah.
Hit the like button, baby, everybody.
One thing about this one is I was I was surprised to see her. First of all, not surprised to see her become an Inquisitor. Certainly, that's something that we wanted. I was hoping that this was going to last a little longer and we'd get some more flex out of that arc for her. But that's just not to be, I suppose.
Yeah, based on where she lands at the end of episode.
No, exactly. Guys. Damn it, I can't breathe under this thing.
Rick Moranis, please come back. Please come back for Spaceballs 2.
Thanks,
I
fellas.
was just saying I would have liked to have seen this particular turn of events stick just a little bit longer.
Well, that's sort of my point. That is sort of my point. I can't imagine a better natural adversary for Ahsoka.
It's
And
like
if we're going to do the redemption arc,
yeah,
wouldn't it be more powerful if Ahsoka is the one who brings her back? She
Well-
missed that opportunity with her master, but at least give her the opportunity to bring her friend back, if that's her arc in your head anyway.
You know, but the way that the whole arc ends by the end of the third episode, it's not really 100% one way or the other what's going to happen with her. We don't know if she's dead and dying and about to be dead or not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's still an opportunity, but I'm always up for more Inquisitors, and to know that to know who this character is and to know that they have such a rich backstory, to go and see them. I guess it kind of mirrors maybe the Vader thing. Like, we all know how great a hero that Anakin was. So seeing him, as Vader, especially
nice.
the stuff he did in
It's
Kenobi.
nice to be like, to have like, oh, they're super cool and they're deadly and they're dangerous, and I really enjoy reading and watching them and stuff. But it's super cool to have one that you know intimately, so that you can go, but as we're about to get into, you'll see that a lot of that sort of autonomic Jedi thinking, it's almost like she can't control it. So I will, by the end, I will have to acquiesce that perhaps she was never a bad guy.
I have to ask about this episode because it's the only mission we see her go on.
I'm guessing this one is at least 3 years after Order 66.
It almost like, to me, I have to ask, is this like her first mission ever? Because like all of the, like, I don't want to say sass or backtalk, but like, because they are just ideologically so far apart, it's like, how did they last as a team that long if they're always at odds? Because that's kind of what happens here.
Well, so there's the Sith, the pecking order of the Sith, if you will. They're like, we see it in Kenobi, where they're like, they're just trying to step on each other to get into the Grand Inquisitor's position.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So if it's they're completely competing with one another. The only reason they probably don't literally strike one another down is because they're in absolute terror of Vader.
Right. Doug says that she was right about how the Jedi lost their way.
That's the worst thing about a Sith, and I say it all the time, is like, despite the evil attributed to them, they don't lie when they whenever
right.
when a Sith is pontificating to you, he's telling you the truth, and perhaps he's twisting it a little, but so did Obi-Wan to Luke. Right?
You're right. And then Gaz says it sounds like she's almost just going with the flow and playing along, that she's second guessing herself. I guess that ties into what you said, like, what's the Empire? And if this is her exposure, this is her learning with the organization she's now a part of.
Well, Lynn showing up at the beginning in not full dress.
Yep.
Again, kind of softening that, like, and then you get through this training, you're not really confined to a cell, but you are.
Right.
And again, they're just like padding it in until, okay, kill him.
Okay.
Well, that's just it. Like, you would peel the layers of the onion back very slowly so you don't cry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it,
big layer, and it's time to cry.
Because even the fourth sister is like, they go from basically like hunting Jedi, and when that's all finished, then now what are we doing? Hunting children?
Yeah.
Are you relevant? Let's jump right into episode. Oh, do it.
Yes. The truth from a certain point of view.
Right. Both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth, one lie at a time. Let's jump right into episode 5, Realization. Story again by Dave Filoni. It says Fave Filoni in my notes. I guess that was a typo, but it's true.
Well, the D and the F are right beside each other on
That's
the keyboard.
true. Yeah. Written by Mac Miknovitz and directed by Stuart Lee. Short episode. Runtime of 12:40 or 10:10 without our bookends. Episode description reads: on a mission to hunt a fugitive, complications change Barriss forever. I just from the title, I thought she was going to lose a limb for some reason. Let's see here. Where are we? Boom. Oh, our cast. Yeah, just quickly. I'm not going to cover the big hitters again, but Keith Ferguson as the governor. His credits number in the hundreds, most notably Dr. Fate in the animated Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths film.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rye Chase as the Jedi, not a stranger to the Star Wars voice acting. They also played Metz in an episode of Young Jedi Adventures.
Young Jedi Adventures, yeah.
Counts. And Jordan Karat as the young girl, who I early on identified as a boy in the notes just because the look of the animation.
Yeah.
Also Star Wars alum. She played Libby in an episode of Star Wars Visions.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Character there, yeah. It's our cast, nice and tight. Open on a Phi shuttle class shuttle as it streaks through hyperspace. Inquisitor Offee enters the cockpit, clad in her black armor, her shoulder pauldrons looking like diminutive versions of those of the Grand Inquisitor. She takes a seat beside the fourth sister in the co-pilot seat, adjusting a few controls. The more experienced woman tells her sister, the target is known to be working with a local rebel cell, and not to let your guard down. Barriss is ever, inquisitive. From the intel, it seems unclear whether a Jedi is involved or not. The fourth sister finally turns to look at her companion sternly. The Grand Inquisitor would not send us here if the intel wasn't credible. You should know better than to question that. A proximity alert begins to bleep bloop, signaling they have arrived at their destination. And as the fourth sister pulls down the control handle, the shuttle leaps from hyperspace above a brown, rocky-looking world with wisps of white cloud in the atmosphere. As of yet, I have been unable to identify this world, so I am calling it New Planet.
New Planet.
New Planet. Coming in
like
low.
when we go to New Planet.
Coming in over a low and dilapidated settlement nestled between gray, craggy mountains, the shuttle sets down. The village looks like a hard-worn mix of modular structures and stacked blocks defining the walls. A myriad of haggard alien races begin to stir, and several run for cover. The town reminds me of Ferrix from Andor, very working class.
I was thinking this could be another area of like Navarro.
Yeah.
Before everything started growing again.
It has that, lived-in hard vibe.
It does, yeah.
As the landing ramp lowers, stay out those drugs, kids. As the landing ramp lowers and a hiss of off-gassing, the imposing agents of the Emperor debark the shuttle and head toward the village. A Rhodian watches the unwanted guest from behind the cover of a broken stone wall. Bright orange and white tarpaulins make up most of the roofs. Another curious onlooker is sensed by the fourth sister and scrambles off when she stops and turns to glare at him. Barriss is full of compassion. These people have nothing. Questioning, how can the Emperor allow this to happen? But the fourth sister is cold. Compassion is weakness, explaining harshly, these people reap what they sow. When they show loyalty to the Empire, they will be allowed to flourish, but not before. Barriss furrows her brow. And let's finish our mission and allow these people to prosper. Still so much Jedi in her. Still, she dons her helmet and follows her sister into the sprawling village. Cut to title card. Boom. As the dark pair move deeper into the small town, they pass an old man resting by the trunk of a dead tree. He doesn't move at all as they pass, giving him no notice. He leers after them. Entering a busy area through an open wall, the sisters find most of the townfolk have gathered together here. And as they stride through the gathering, the residents cast their eyes down and away, fear obviously etched on their worn faces. Reaching about the center of the area, the fourth sister stops and clearly addresses the citizens. Where is the Jedi hiding? A tall, white-haired, mustachioed man speaks without facing the ominous woman. There is no Jedi here. He turns and confidently walks towards the elder sister. She isn't shook, scowling, stepping toward him. You would be wise to tell me. Barriss surveys the people, noting a scared young girl who suddenly ducks behind a damaged column. Barriss starts after the girl while her partner addresses the entire group. We're here to protect you. The Jedi are dangerous. They can control your minds, sowing seeds of dissent and propaganda. They can make you do things you would otherwise not. You can see how they're twisting the narrative of the Jedi there in just a couple of lines. It's like a myth.
It starts
But-
off, we're here to protect you.
Right.
They're like, oh, sure you are.
That's the narrative. Like, we're here to protect you from the Jedi.
Well, the Jedi were evil murderers that wanted to. If we have to tell, we got to sell it.
That's right. Barriss, kneeling down by the scared child, tells her in a calm voice, still distorted by her voice modulator, "You know something. It's all right. You can tell me." The child looks away, eyes filled with pain and fear. Sensing this, Barriss removes her helmet, asking the child in her natural voice, "Is that better?" The child, softening at her tone, looks up at the Inquisitor. "Now will you tell me what I want to know?" Back in the main group, the fourth sister once again directly addresses the governor. "Do not press our patience in this matter." The governor, protecting his people, pleads, "I give you my word. There were never any Jedi here." Barriss continues with the girl. "You should tell me the truth. Was there a Jedi here?" The child looks about at Barriss and then at the floor. "It's okay." The child finally breaks, reluctantly trusting Barriss. "They're hiding in the mountains." Barriss reassures the child that you did the right thing. For everyone. Standing and turning to her companion, she tells her, "Sister, the mountains." As Barriss begins to leave the way they came in, the fourth sister uses the Force to block the exit with storage containers and an old gaming console where we get our only Arabesh of the entire series, Credit Pusher. Barriss.
Wait, looks like it came right out of Sid's place.
It
right.
totally did, yeah. Barriss, horrified, whirls around. The fourth sister, hand still outstretched like a claw, almost growls. "You gave me your word." Reaching back over her shoulder, she removes her double-bladed lightsaber and turns to face the governor. He states stoically, "People are judged by their actions. Well then," she ignites a single blade, raising it in force, a mighty strike at the villager. They begin to scream in panic, cutting down the nearest citizen to her with a slash across his chest. She stalks toward the governor, who manages a no before she slashes him twice.
Gaz says, "You know the Sith are your friends. Everybody knows they're full of love. You want to share hugs with everyone."
Yeah. We just want to be your friend. We don't want to be your parents. We don't.
Have you seen my flashlight?
It's like Darth Maul laying it onto Ahsoka there.
Yeah.
Just laying it on thick.
Yeah.
Look down the barrel of this thing.
Does this look right to you?
Wait for the flash.
Do you like candy and white vans?
I'm not stupid. Show me the candy first.
Yeah, right. Right. Do I get to drive the van? But oh my God. But she doesn't stop there. Barriss is horrified as the fourth sister begins to systematically slaughter the poor denizens. The young girl rushes to Barriss, hugging her tight around the waist, bearing her head from the carnage. We cut to the outside of the structure. It's Disney, after all. Amid the lightsaber humming and blood-curdling screams. At one point, the end of the lightsaber bursts through a wall, having clearly speared someone inside. The murder spree suddenly halts with the last scream, and an eerie silence fills the air.
There's that scene that you've got it right in the middle there, Hank, where like when you're watching the episode and you can see through the door, her blade swinging.
Right. Yeah.
You don't see anything else.
Yeah.
Nope.
But you're thinking, God, for every one of those.
Yeah.
That's freaking Anakin in the freaking
It just
and
when it just goes quiet, right? Like it's creepy as heck. Yeah. Panting from the fray, like she's like an animal, right? Panting from the fray, the fourth sister leers over her shoulder at the child, who wraps herself tighter around Barriss. Turning, she steps forward, raising a hand towards Barriss and the child. Pulling the child behind her, Barriss' expression changes as she readies herself, I think, for a fight. But the sister uses the Force to unblock the entrance to the courtyard and steps past the two, leering angrily sideways at Barriss as she passes and steps into the village street, extinguishing her blade. And the child peers behind at the destruction. Barriss blocks her view with her helmet, telling her, "Don't look back." Bringing the child into the street, Barriss uses the Force to reblock the scene of the slaughter. Barriss places a comforting hand on the child's shoulder before placing the helmet back on her head and rushing off after her demented companion. The child, utterly alone, stands shocked in place as we linger on her for a minute. That's a crazy scene.
Yeah.
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 Like she she saves her ostensibly.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of what the fourth sister's probably thinking is, I left one alive to tell the story.
Maybe.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she just abandons a child.
Well,
like,
there is that, right? Yeah, alive, but to what end? Everybody
Right.
that she knows is having a long nap at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the old man by the tree is still there. Hopefully.
That guy, by the way, the magistrate, the governor,
Mhm.
gave me Lor Santeca vibes.
Yeah, totally did. Yeah.
I kind
totally.
of hope that we get to see. I'd love to see a younger Lor Santeca and sort of his connection to like Leia and whatnot.
Well, there is some Santeca family stuff that goes on in the High Republic. Like they come from a
Oh, very
family of
cool.
very wealthy family in the galaxy.
Right.
Where is we? Barriss trails behind as the duo make their way through the desolate landscape littered with dead trees and wide chasms, which they use the Force to traverse easily. Approaching a narrow path with a steep climb up the mountains, Barriss has words for the fourth sister. As Inquisitors, we bring order, not chaos. But the older dark side user has a different interpretation. Rebellion creates chaos. Eliminating it brings order. Barriss questions this, thinking that creating fear will turn the people against them. But far more removed from her Jedi teaching, the fourth sister offers, they were already against us. Now those that witness our strength will respect it. As we pan up the mountain, we see that this will be a long, arduous climb. A red sunset sets, casting a bloody gloom across the land as the sisters near the head of their grueling ascent. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble, growing steadily as debris and small rocks tumble down at Barriss, who yells a warning to the fourth sister, who's perhaps 20 or 30 feet above. As a large section of rock breaks free and the tremor forces a landslide, both manage to leap out of the initial tumbling boulders, but a secondary rock knocks Barriss from her perches and she falls several meters before deftly grabbing an outcropping with one arm. Now far ahead of her, the sister begins the final short ascent.
I have one small, I don't want to call it a nitpick, but I was like,
Why didn't the helicopter?
why didn't we use our go gadget sabers?
Maybe that's next month's lesson. We're so early into the show here.
I'm wondering if we are moving away from that. We've had the Inquisitor lightsaber in live action. We didn't get any of that. We had an opportunity here. We didn't use it.
In the last actually, it's in this episode. Barriss uses a fashion of it coming up in a second, actually.
Okay.
Finally, cresting the summit, Barriss hears the all too familiar clash of lightsabers in the distance. And as she gets closer, she sees that the fourth has deployed her double blades and is engaged with an opponent wielding a blue saber. Barriss arrives but hangs at the perimeter of the duel. The combatants exchange flourishes, each evenly met until the Jedi manages a Force-assisted spin kick that hits her square in the chest, knocking the fourth sister down and temporarily out. As the Jedi moves for the killing blow, Barriss ignites her own saber, simultaneously leaping in time to parry the slash. Locking blades, she tells the Jedi, "You need to surrender." Spinning away from an attack, the Jedi tells her, "You're a traitor and a murderer." The Jedi presses the attack, raining heavy two-handed blows down on Barriss, which she counters deftly.
That presumes that he knows what the Inquisitors are.
Yeah, well, he probably knows what the Sith are at any rate.
Yeah.
They're probably taught.
And a murderer.
The red blade. Well, the red blade probably means something to them at some point, like
I would
there
think
might
so.
be just a note
When
somewhere in a book.
When the Sith returned, was the entire order made aware of that?
I don't know if they're. Well, I think they keep it a secret.
That's what I mean. Like, we don't really expressly know if they okay, everybody within the temple, you all need to know they're back. Or is it, what we see? It's kept in the High Council chamber, and only the people who are working on it know.
I would have to listen to the long form of Obi-Wan's message.
Yeah.
Because that's the official word.
Right.
Yeah. That's the official word. So I don't know if he's like a Sith Lord has taken over the Republic. We must, but so it's possible.
Okay.
Barriss, which she counters deftly. "That's not true," she pleads. But the Jedi is fighting for survival, striking hard, putting Barriss off balance before using the Force push to send her back. but she counters it, digging her heels in and slowing her momentum with the rotation of her Inquisitorial saber. And that's why I say she's using a version of it. She like slows the force push down by spinning it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like using it like a brake. So it's very, very similar to being able to fly with this, like the opposite, I guess. Clearly exhausted, the Jedi swings wildly as Barriss easily brushes the laborsome attacks aside. The Jedi are gone. She doesn't even have her sword raised anymore. The Jedi attempts one last thrust, but she easily sidesteps the blow, using momentum to push the exhausted Force user aside. They paid for their hubris, but you don't have to. Set down your weapon. Come with me. Is she trying to recruit him?
She's trying to arrest him.
I don't think she's trying to recruit him. I agree with Andy. I think she's trying to get him to come in peacefully.
You'll get a fair trial kind of action.
Yeah.
Well, you'll go to jail. She went to jail, so of course she believes that.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to murder you.
Yeah, the Empire is just and good.
That's the Emperor's real name.
Overlords. We'll look after you.
Just and good. Come with me. The Jedi swings again, but it might as well be a fly swatter. Barriss effortlessly turns it aside. I know what it's like to be lied to be deceived. But that's over now. Turn yourself in. You have a chance for a new life. And that's the line that kind of makes me think she's trying to recruit him. But the Jedi protests, no. Barriss' voice softens further. Aren't you tired of running? I think she's using Jedi mind tricks on him, but he'd probably be able to resist that.
Oh, yeah.
Raising their saber to the ready position, the Jedi admits, I'm so tired. And I feel so alone. Then come with me, she offers finally. He deactivates his saber.
I wonder if she sees herself in this guy because, like, the line, being alone. Well,
right.
She was kind of left alone.
Absolutely.
Got one from Gaz here too.
What's Gaz saying? Gaz says, Sith blades are red because they would pour negative emotions such as rage, hate, and fear and pain into their kyber crystals.
Totally. Yeah. They would bleed them. They literally bleed them. Yeah. And they can be healed, which is what Ahsoka did. And that's why her crystals are white.
Yeah.
27. But the fourth sister has recovered and rises to strike the Jedi down from behind. My break made that anticlimactic. She kills him.
That's
a few hours later.
Like Barriss, she uses, empathy and whatnot to get the answer of where he's hiding.
Right.
But then the fourth sister just goes ballistic.
Negotiation.
Again, she's got him talked down. She's ready to take him in and nope, we're going to kill this guy.
Right. Yeah. The Jedi way appears to be working until it doesn't. The fourth sister has recovered and rises to strike the Jedi down from behind. Extinguishing her blade, she tells Barriss, it's finished. Kicking over the Jedi's limp body, she uses the Force to draw up her prize, the fallen lightsaber. Barriss kneels down, noting that the Jedi is still alive. They can be saved if they just get to the Jedi to the ship. But the fourth sister tells her to forget it. Let them die. Barriss protests. They were about to surrender. Irrelevant, the elder snaps. The Jedi are a threat to be eradicated wherever they are found. Barriss, in that moment, changes her mind, stating coolly, then you have one Jedi left to deal with. And I have to admit, that's a hell of a line.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. It is a hell of a line.
I didn't want her to turn so easily back.
No.
But it's a hell of a line. It's not even her best one in the series because she has a fantastic one in the third episode, actually.
This is, I think, part of what ties into I would have liked to have seen her do more inquisitorial stuff before this happened.
Yeah. Right.
Which makes me feel like I said, is this her first mission? Because everything happens at such a condensed rate.
It's kind of cool that she never broke completely. Like if I'm trying to find golden eggs in like silver linings, I guess.
Yeah.
That like she hadn't done any personal traumatic shit, like, like call babies or anything like that.
Yeah.
So maybe she has the chance to be something awesome in the, if she survives. The Inquisitor turns, snapping both her blades on, but before she can bring them to Barriss, Offee force pushes her off the mountainside and she falls into the dark, foggy night below. Stepping towards the edge, Barriss contemplates.
Helicopter today?
Yeah. Stepping to the edge, Barriss contemplates a moment before removing her helmet and tossing it down into the mist. relinquishing the dark side if she ever had fully embraced it. Rushing back to the Jedi side, she takes them up in her arms as their eyes stir, opening slightly. She tells the Jedi, "I won't let you die. You're not alone." And as we pull back on the pair in the murky purple night, we cut to black. Boom. Man, so I didn't expect, this is not what I expected. I expected that Tales of the Empire, we were going
Full dark. Full
especially
dark.
no spoilers, but we see that transition with
Morgan.
With
Morgan, almost the opposite transition.
Yeah.
So now I
Yep.
see what they're doing and why they put these two stories together, because they are inversely sort of proportional to one another in terms of the arc.
Yep.
And I've softened after writing 75,000 words about it and watching it 90 times, but I
Yeah.
was kind of pissed. And I'm not sure if I was even more softened by finding a YouTuber that I don't respect was equally pissed. And then I had to like check myself because I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to think like that guy.
No, I hear what you're saying.
So I found some beauty in it for sure.
I got a theory on what you're talking about.
Episode 6, The Way Out.
I love that she is visibly aged.
Yes.
I like
And
that. That's
in a
great
way,
tell.
Ahsoka isn't.
No, she's not.
Like,
Yeah.
her pain is etched in her face. She's
Yeah.
also much older than Ahsoka. She's a full Jedi Knight by the time
By the time they are.
by the time of the bombing of the temple.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I've always put her maybe 5 to 10 years older than Ahsoka.
Well,
know,
I mean, she would have been.
Obi-Wan was a Jedi, was a Padawan until he was 25.
Yeah, she showed up in Attack of the Clones, and to me, I thought she had to be at least not that far off from Obi-Wan's age, maybe a little bit younger.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, because of the Attack of the Clones, and Obi was like maybe 22, 23. I put her in that wheelhouse for sure.
That's what I mean,
absolutely, yeah. Episode 6, Return of The Way Out. Story by Dave Filoni, written by Mac McNevitz and directed by Nate Villanueva. The runtime of 1610, 1350 with bookends, so only 6 seconds longer than the first episode. Weirdly, this is the one I have the least slides for, because several of them have like 42 pictures in the slides.
This is the one I actually find the most interesting, and it's only because of the end.
Yes.
But I have
yeah.
I have some questions and some thoughts about it when we get there.
Excellent. Yeah, because I have a weird take on the end, and actually the whole 3 episodes.
Okay,
by the
cool.
time we get to the end. 31 cast, a who's who of Star Wars voice acting alumni. Anna Graves as the second attendant, and if you didn't know that was her name, it's just in the credits.
Nice.
I think she has 2 lines. Anna Graves, of course, the Duchess Satine from the Clone Wars,
Mrs. Obi-Wan,
and our furry friend with the claws, the first attendant, Steve Blum, Garazeb Aurelius.
Yeah,
getting some lunch money, coffee money, and Keaton or Keston John as the father. He also portrays Jedi Master Carver Drow in the Young Jedi Adventures.
Oh, cool.
And Susie McGrath as the mother. She's the voice of Tam Rabora on everybody's favorite Star Wars animated show, Resistance.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So of course we knew who she was. Excellent work though. Open amid a blizzard, whiting everything out. We barely make out a small, white, furry alien creature scurrying in the bleak landscape. A couple, a man and a woman, struggling against the howling wind and stinging snow. The woman clutching a swaddling baby close to her. They walk with some sort of large pack animal. Laden with saddles and supplies. What seems like a snow-covered rock begins to shake, sloughing the snow off, revealing a diminutive creature looking like some type of mole alien with white hair.
The Arctic Mole Man.
Arctic Mole Man. Where is Reed Richards? I'm in the wrong planet. Sharp claws on each finger. The man pulls a blaster, pointing it at the creature. The creature stands, hands up, showing them he's not a threat. The mother steps forward as the small being gestures for the family to follow. Nodding back at her husband in acceptance, he holsters his man. There's a lot of spelling mistakes. He hipsters his blaster.
Woo-hoo!
He holsters his blaster and calling out to the creature, "We seek the healer." The mother shows the child to the guide, and he tells them to follow him once more. So they continue into the storm after their new guide. Cut to title card: Tales of the Empire: The Way Out. Sometime later, with the storm broken, the group comes upon a rocky plain with one ramshackle building covered in tarps. They are greeted by an attendant by the animal skin covered door. The guide exchanges a quiet word with the attendant, who addresses head to toe in furs, hood up, and face covered by a scarf. The hooded figure enters the tent-like structure, only to return a moment later. I got a cupcake.
Nice.
That's so sweet. I had to pause for just admiring the cupcake. That's really nice. I'm
You
blushing.
had a cupcake delivered.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
blushing.
That is so nice.
It's better than a booby. She's wearing a scarf. The hooded figure enters the tent-like structure, only to return a moment later, telling the group, "Come, she will see you." The attendant holds open the door flap, and the man, woman, and child walk inside. Inside the dimly lit hovel, a figure sits on their knees, in a hooded wrap before a candle-lit altar.
No surprise.
Yes. No surprise. Wicked.
Cupcakes, yum.
I will mail you one, sir. The woman beckons the trio, "Come forward." It's Barriss, and clearly the years have passed as deep lines have been etched into her face. Dropping her hood and turning towards them, she reassures, "You're safe here." She steps forward, examining the child tenderly, touching their cheek. The child coos in response. Looking the child over and finally deep into its brown eyes, she tells the child, "It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with you." Barriss turns back to her altar, pouring steaming liquid from a kettle. She fills 2 cups. The father protests, "We thought so too, but the Empire came to our village and examined all of the children." The mother speaks up, adding, "They took samples of their blood. Something about Micah frightened them." Father continues, "They wanted to take him away, so we fled." He said that's when they met the traveler and were told to find Barriss. Rising, she hands them each a cup of hot liquid, saying, "I know what you speak." The trio kneel on pillows on the floor, and Barriss begins her tale. "Long ago, before the Empire, my family faced a similar situation. But it was the Jedi who came and took me. They trained me as their own. I saw amazing things and traveled the stars with my master, looking as up as if toward those very stars wistfully, and then gazing at the floor, before a darkness took me. But that was long ago," she finishes. "Are you saying our child is a Jedi?" Barriss tells the mother, "No, but your child, according to the old ways of the Jedi, has within him the potential. He would have been taken, like I was, to the temple and trained as a Jedi Knight of old. But now, such gifts are a curse." She tells them, "You're right to run. The Empire will take your child and use them, if not something worse." She frowns solemnly, looking down again. The second attendant, the woman in the fur parka, enters the threshold. "Wise mother." Oh, I missed a whole.
You missed a whole slide?
Yeah, not a slide, just a one piece of the slide. She frowns solemnly, looking down again. When a sudden wind flows through the door flap and all the candles flicker out. Thematically, it's important. It's not really story beat, but the second attendant.
Storms are coming.
Yeah, the second attendant, the woman in the fur parka, enters the threshold. "Wise mother, someone is coming." I thought that was cool, because that puts Barriss on the head of the witches of Dathomir level in terms of like wise mother, how people
there's a reverence there,
are taking her, and so I think she's been training people.
Maybe.
Yeah,
it's interesting though. If she's been training people, she's not been training them fully.
No.
Not fully, no.
She obviously abandoned, which we're going to find out. Well, maybe we don't know that. What we did see, or what we didn't see, was she does not have her Inquisitor lightsaber.
In order to make everything jive with my head and for her to be like this level of good guy.
Yep.
That attendant is the little girl from the planet.
Oh,
It
really?
just helps me sleep.
It makes you feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good headcanon.
Yeah.
Barriss rises, pulling her hood up. Exiting the hovel, the child's father follows. She walks to the edge of the barrens as a solitary figure clad in black approaches from a distance, slowly, across the rugged landscape. The wind begins to howl and the snowstorm picks up again as dark clouds loom once more overhead. Speaking over her shoulder to her attendants, never taking her eyes from the approaching dark figure. "You are dismissed. Take this family and go. Take my starship." The alien questions, "But wise mother, we are held to help you." She tells them that you already have. The coordinates are in the ship's computer. The female attendant asks where they're taking them, but Barriss replies, "To see an old friend. She'll understand what to do." Do we think the old friend is Ahsoka?
Maybe.
I have a different opinion on that.
Yeah.
But it hinges on some more dialogue later on.
Okay,
Can we come
okay.
back to that?
We can totally come back to that.
Okay.
Please try
Yep.
and remember. To see an old friend. The woman says they will do as she says, completing the task, and then we will return to you. But the former inquisitor tells her there is no need to come back. They've already done more than they should. Clasping their shoulders, she tells them, "Take everything I have taught you and pass it on." So like right there, right there, I think
Pass
she's
on
been,
what you have learned.
right. They share a tender
Okay.
embrace, and I have to believe she's been training Force users. The father is grateful for Barriss's kindness and knowledge, and the mother asks what they can do to repay her. Barriss gazes at the smiling baby, replying, "Live."
I would literally, when I was watching it and they said
Yeah.
that, I'm like, I said
Live.
that. I said it. I'm like, oh yes, so satisfying.
Line, please.
Yeah.
Now go.
Yeah.
The man grabs a pair of bedrolls, sending the pack beast loose with a pat on its rump, leaving Barriss alone to await the stranger. Closer now, dark cloak billowing in the wind, Barriss begins to walk toward them. And for a split second, even though it wouldn't make any sense to the story,
Vader.
I thought it might have been Vader.
Yep. You're not alone.
Right? Because like that's how she dies. That would work
Mm.
real well too. Because like, yeah, you don't win that fight. You just survive it, maybe. That's what I loved about the Jedi game, where when you fight Vader, the last level is you can't beat him.
You cannot.
You have to successfully run.
Yep. Just stay away.
Barriss stops, looking up, recognizing that is the fourth sister who has found her. Now mere meters apart, the Inquisitor scowls as Barriss lowers the hood. "Of course it's you," the sister growls. "How ironic that when I am not seeking you, I find you at last." Barriss, removing her cloak completely, continues to let her adversary speak. "We had almost stopped searching." Barriss tells her, "You should leave, Lynn," calling her by her name. "I have been sent for the child," she states, stomping forward defiantly. Calmly, Barriss steps into her path. The fourth sister wields her lightsaber, a single red blade emitted from its semicircular hilt. Charging forward, she slashes twice as Barriss sidesteps them. Uh-oh, she's been training. Pity crosses the former Jedi's face. "Is this who you have become, chasing down innocent children for your empire?" Pointing the crimson energy blade at Barriss's face, she spits. "You're a traitor. I wouldn't expect you to understand." Barriss admits, "You're correct, Lynn. I do not." But the sister is infuriated further. "Do not call me that." Pulling her blade back with her opposing arm out in front, she adopts an almost evil version of the classic Obi-Wan pose. "Now step aside." But Barriss only places her hands behind her back, remaining steadfast in the Sith-trained warrior's way.
There's a parallel here to this fight with her fight with the Grand Inquisitor. How visually it just looks so similar.
Yeah. And I do have we'll get there in a sec. The Inquisitor swings deftly, executing excellent technique and speed, but Barriss easily sidesteps them all, only inches of clearance. She's toying with her opponent the same way the Grand Inquisitor had done with her on that fateful day. Dropping her cloak to the ground, Lynn ignites her second blade, leaping at Barriss with renewed fury. But all efforts are futile, as Barriss is far too quick and agile for the Dark Forcer to even get a glancing blow. "Your anger makes you predictable." Now, that's a line from the first episode.
It is
where he says,
flipped. It's flipped.
Yeah, it's flipped. Yeah, he literally tells her, your lack of effort is making you predictable.
Yeah.
So it's great. She, as a good student will, she'll take things from the bad teacher and turn it into her sort of benefit.
Yeah.
Your anger makes you predictable. She states evenly, spinning the first lesson of the Grand Inquisitor when he told her it was holding her back her abilities that made her predictable. Engaging the rotor of the hilt, the Inquisitor's saber begins to rotate about its axis as the Imperial agent presses her attack. But Barriss is too nimble, dodging all of the furious strikes. Having had enough of this foolishness, Barriss stops the mighty swing mid-air with just a raising of her hand, force pushing her opponent effortlessly back and down to the rocky ground. Standing and igniting her blade again, the fourth sister spots the fleeing family and their escorts headed for an open cave mouth in the rocky mountainside. Stand aside, she demands. Surprisingly, Barriss says, I will, but I warn you not to follow the child into that cave. You do not know the path, and if you go in, genuine concern is etched on her visage. You will not come out. The sister barks, fear is my ally, not yours. And these couple of lines here. Fear is my ally, not yours. But Barriss closes her eyes in pity. You choose your allies poorly. That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's Obi-Wan level stuff.
For sure it is.
Yeah. Barriss indeed steps aside as the fourth sister passes slowly, her lightsaber leveled at their once again Jedi. Once I am finished with this child, I'll be back for you. But she must know that she can't win a straight fight. And she runs off into the cave after the family. She's got to know she can't beat her after that. Like,
can we talk about the child for a minute?
Sure.
Just for a second. It's interesting that Lynn says, I'm here for the child. I don't think the Inquisitorius spent a whole lot of time and investment raising Inquisitors from infancy.
No.
Which suggests to me that she's there on behalf of Project Necromancer.
Yes.
Or some new version of it, considering the timeline.
Yeah. I'm here for the Force-sensitive child because the Emperor needs them.
Yep.
Yes. I don't imagine for a second that those experiments, even after Omega, will have been completely shuttered.
No.
Some fashion.
There's still whatever going on Exegol.
Yeah.
Which we don't really know yet.
Yes.
We know
Both,
from Rise of Skywalker, but
both teams trying to cherry pick Force sensitive children is a theme too. Like
I put this somewhere. Thing. I think you're right too. When she says she wears her the lines etched deep on her face, like she wears her
regret and sadness.
Yeah, which makes me think that maybe she's not as old as the lines suggest. That this is just like premature aging, because we don't know Lynn's fate at the end of Kenobi.
No.
And I kind of wonder, is this, I kind of, in my head, I'm placing this after Kenobi.
Way after.
Like just after.
Well, okay. So when I say now, yeah, definitely after, because we have to get to the end because I don't want to spoil it in the middle, but I have a theory about Lynn and all three of the episodes, actually.
Okay, cool.
Your anger makes you predictable. Fear is my ally, not yours. You choose your poorly wisely. You have chosen your... Barriss indeed sidesteps the four sisters, passing slowly, her lightsaber leveled at the once again Jedi. She rushes off to the cave after the family. Sorry. The escort guides the family quickly through a series of narrow, interconnected passages. Not far behind, her red blade reflected off the ice face around her, the fourth sister searches for her quarry. Pausing at an intersection, the first alien passes, retreating backward as he spots a red glow from adjacent tunnel. She peers around, using her saber as a torch. The group, turning back the way they came, make crunching noises as they move, alerting the fourth sister, who growls, lunging behind a wall, but there is no target. Following further, the sister comes to an ice wall, and her reflection is cast back at her, while we see the group huddling in a small nook. She moves on, giving the group the space to move out. The Inquisitor is lost, finding herself at the apex of many tunnels. The attendants lead the family finally to a makeshift hangar in a cavern where the ship awaits. It reminds me of a quad jumper of some renown, though, unlike either the Force Awakens or Andor models. And it's also, since we had that thought, Chad, I also think it's a lot like Marva's ship from Andor.
Oh, like the tug.
Yeah, a lot like it. Like it has elements of that. Yeah.
Well, to be fair though, and we know from watching Andor that the interior of that tug was the interior of the quad jumper. Like they used the same set in both ships. So
they fully did. Gotta save a buck. Inside the cavernous maze, the fourth sister darts her gaze from side to side, obvious panic crossing her face. Back at the shuttle, the furry guide powers up from the pilot's seat, and the family take up seats in the back. The Inquisitor is truly lost, infuriated, and yet another blocked passage. She flashes angrily at her reflection in the ice until she loses her footing and stumbling prone, exhausted, defeated. Outside, the shuttle has cleared the mountains and heads smoothly towards the clouds. Once clear of the atmosphere, the ship makes the jump to hyperspace. Still stuck deep inside the passage, the sister's face turns from fear to anger as she slashes wildly at more ice walls, growling, panting as she does so. Suddenly,
She's so mad.
she's so mad.
She's so mad.
This
You
is like
mad?
Kylo Ren level tempo.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just
She's throwing a
smashing the
tantrum.
walls.
Yeah, that was in my tantrum was the word I was using in my
Yeah.
brief. My
Good
brief
word
notes.
too. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah. Suddenly, ethereally, Barriss speaks, her voice echoing off the walls. You're lost. I warned you. The enraged Inquisitor slashes out again at the ice. Enough of your trickery. But Barriss continues. There is no trickery. I don't want you to die in here. Lay down your weapon and I'll show you the way out. Fear consumes the sister as she tells Barriss, you don't know what they'll do to me. For my failure. Barriss returns. This is my favorite line in a long time, too. It seems fear is not your ally, but your master.
Yeah.
So good.
Great
It
line.
really is a good line. Infuriated, she swings her double saber wildly, attacking the tunnel walls. Throwing it like a boomerang, it careens off the icy caverns and returns to her hand. Pleading, yelling, she calls her opponent's name. Barriss! Barriss! I am here. Let me help you. A final wild thrust, however, finds a target. Barriss Offee stands before the fourth sister, the business end of her blade plunged deep in her midriff. Extinguishing the blade, Barriss slumps into the Inquisitor's arms, who calls out, Barriss, this time eyes and voice full of concern. Laid down, her head cradled in her enemy's hand, Barriss manages laboriously, I forgive you. But she doesn't want forgiveness. She wants a way out. Barriss tells her, you know the way out. And it's clear she's not talking about the passage.
Oh
You
no.
just have to accept it, Lynn. Broken, voice strained with emotion, Lynn says again, stop calling me that. But that is who you are.
Yeah, it's the name you've only just forgotten, Father.
Right.
Mhm.
Lynn looks down in shame. There is no way out, is there? But Barriss, more labored now, says, that's what the Empire wants you to think. Staring up into heaven like one would do pleading with God, the once devoted Inquisitor has a realization she does know the way out.
Mm.
Devoted, realization, the way out. These episodes are not necessarily about Barriss, but they're about the fourth sister.
Yeah, very much so.
Barriss moves her hand to Lynn's, comforting her. As she's dying, she's comforting the woman
Yeah.
who killed her. As the fog of her breath slowly fades, Lynn, heartbroken, says aloud, I'm going to get you out of here. Picking Barriss up and grasping her to her chest, Lynn Rakesh, former Jedi Knight, walks out of the cavern into the sunlight outside, leaving her Inquisitor's saber behind. Cut to black.
I like that it's not expressly laid out for you that is she dead? Is she not dead?
Yeah,
Capable or
I mean, I think the breath stopping is death, but then again, getting run through with a lightsaber should be death, and it
That is no guarantee anymore.
Right. I think the stoppage of her breathing is, but then again, I want to see more of this, like the way she quips with like force talk, like Jedi talk. I love that, some of her lines in this. I really like the look of the character with the short hair and the hooded shawl kind of thing.
It's very
the wise mother look.
Very monastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the idea that a Jedi might turn inside themselves, but not lose their connection with the Force, like Obi.
Yeah.
Like where she's been obviously mastering her craft.
No surprise though that it's a similar trajectory though. Like Obi-Wan hiding out, she's hiding out.
Yeah.
Let's find the weirdest, wildest place that's the furthest away from the Empire, and that's where I'm gonna live.
But she's not like hiding so that she rejects the Jedi way. She's at least like I'm inferring a lot, but I think she's training people who she's found that are sensitive in the Force. She's trying to actively do good things. She's got her name out as the wise mother, and if you have a problem, come see me.
Yeah.
It's like it's known to people, kind of thing on the planet.
I
It's not
feel
necessarily known that it's Barriss Offee.
No,
no,
exactly.
If you need help, you go seek the wise mother.
Right.
I know it's only one family and it's one child, and it's like, you know, the pretext is they're bringing the baby out because they need a healer.
Mm,
But then Barriss says there's nothing wrong with the kid.
no.
There's nothing wrong with the child.
Right.
But it's like
but-
little Baron, you know, he's exhibiting weird stuff like
No, you're right,
stuff
you're
around
right.
the room, right?
Right.
Oh, he's got a demon in him.
Well, I
You know,
wanna-
it's just the
Mhm.
Force.
I want to
Got
tie that
ghosts in
back.
his blood.
I want to tie that back to Kenobi, and
Mm.
and also bring it back around to what you were asking about.
Right.
Hank. Who's the old friend? Because it's very pointed. She will know what to do.
Right.
The obvious one for me is Ahsoka.
Yeah, but here's
But
an
there's a
interesting
less
take on
obvious
that.
one.
Yeah, Reva.
I never considered that either.
Mm.
Okay, can I
Any-
offer a third one?
Okay.
So I have a third one for that, and it also ties into the Kenobi series. When Obi-Wan actually ties into the bigger Star Wars picture, as we've come to see recently,
hmm
when Obi-Wan and Tala are going down the path,
Right.
like literally when she says to Lynn, "Don't go in there, you don't know the path." I think that's an analogy. That's a metaphor for the path.
The path.
The same path that Tala was working on, the
I
same
agree.
path that Quinlan Voss passed through.
I agree.
And so, who else has been both on the dark side, and now has turned to the light?
Mm.
Who else?
Asajj Ventress.
Yes,
Asajj Ventress.
and that would be a very interesting, an interesting one to do. Not only would we get more Asajj Ventress,
And they
but,
do have a personal connect. Here's your helmet
well,
back.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I stole your lightsabers. Sorry that I framed you. But wouldn't that be something? I mean, both of these characters are obviously redeemable for their own in their own
Yeah.
way for different reasons. Is there enough room for them to find middle ground and become old friends?
I mean,
I
we
would
could,
think so.
yeah. I mean, we could run through that, and I wouldn't hate it at all. Like it's
Like a Magneto Professor X thing.
it's
Yeah,
a,
I feel like that is exactly what it is.
it's a nice idea.
I never thought of Reva though.
I mean, it's just that a former Inquisitor, like there's that common ground. Like there's a lot of the same trajectory.
Yeah.
Although Reba is sort of even deeper undercover, if you will. Like
And
she
Reva,
does horrible
the last we
things.
saw her was just staggering off into the desert at night.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Disappeared.
Wounded.
That's an interesting thought. It
Mm.
would make more sense if it was Lynn that delivered the line, an old friend.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
I don't know how that works. Well, mind you.
I mean, so my first impressions were like, oh, not another redemption. And then I was like, oh, double redemption. But like after having chewed on it for quite a while, I'm okay with it. I really like this version of Barriss Offee. Confident, like she's always been a little bit nervous, like super powerful, always been crazy powerful. She takes Skywalker to task, inevitably losing, but like that's like on your list of things. I went toe to toe with this guy. But I like this version of her. I like her quotes. I like her quipping. And I like that the idea that a Jedi can be autonomically a Jedi, not like because of a vow or
The idea that
it's like she's a good guy, even if she's wearing an Inquisitor's uniform.
yeah.
You know,
There's that whole turning
these
inward.
people are suffering. Why can't we help them? Let's do our mission so they can prosper. She literally thinks that that's what the Emperor wants.
Yeah.
You feel like this is sort of the trajectory that Qui-Gon Jinn would have wanted for Obi-Wan or someone like that.
Yeah.
That this is her paying attention to the living force.
Right.
And speaking of the living force, do we think that this cave had any similar potential to like the thing on Dagobah?
As the dark side cave?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just because like the angrier she gets, the smaller the cave seems to get. Just
Yeah.
like the walls are closing in around her.
That's true.
I got
until-
what I got out of it. I got we've seen it before, possibly not most famously, but maybe for us as genre nerds that we are, the mirror room in Enter the Dragon.
I always thought if like there's dark force nexuses, and we've seen a few of them now,
Yeah.
there must be also light side nexuses.
Well, like the beacon on Tython.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But by far, this one of the three, this one I found to be the most interesting and the most potential. Now, when you want to use an animated series to set something up, I feel this is the right way to do it. Don't hijack an entire series to drop 10, 15 things that you're not going to follow up with for a while.
Right.
This is perfect. A 10-minute short that tells a very concise story and accomplishes the exact same thing without subverting me. And I really liked it.
Like Gaz had said the other night, you could do something like this and go short and deep on obscure characters and tell a little story in a crazy corner of the Star Wars universe and do a good job. The other thing I have to say is, like, even though Bad Batch finale was like, the animation was jumping,
I was about to say
this show, oh
Just
my
looks
God.
so
was it just
good.
me, or did I lost track at times that I was watching an animated series?
Yeah.
So there's one, I don't know if I'm going to go back like 42 slides here. Just bear with me. It's in the second episode.
You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
But like multiple times I felt watching this like I'm watching live action.
You can't see me moving my mouse over.
What's funny is that Lynn, like Barriss, looks like her animation model from the Clone Wars, but Lynn looks like the actor.
Yeah.
Right. I had paused this scene while I was taking notes, and I looked up, and it was like the scene with Barriss and Lynn walking, and the guys. It's the third slide, second at the top on the right.
Sure. Yeah.
That looks like a live action asset. Like the rendering on it, the way the light is, the way she's standing there, the weight that she has while she's moving.
Yeah.
I was like, just like you, Andy, I was like, wait a minute. Wow.
It's even more crazy when we get to your stuff, Andy, but I don't want to talk about it too much, but there's a fire.
Yeah.
There's a fire that I'm looking at like that. Did Lucasfilm go and burn a forest down just to make this show? Because God damn, that looks real.
So good.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, that was super fun.
I like this. I saw a meme that came out within, I don't know, a day or so of the entire Tales dropping, and it was like, what one do you want next? And they had like a litany list of tales of this, tales of that, tales.
Right.
You're right. You could literally put anything you want,
right,
and have a cool little anthology series.
The stakes are low. This is, I think, like their answer to What If. No, not in terms of thematically. These are stories that could or may not have happened, but
right.
I think it's like sort of like a spiritual sister or brother, if you will.
If Visions is the What If of Star Wars, then this is like, these are real. These are the canon stories.
Here's the moments you missed.
Yeah.
Now, someone get out there and weave this into the extended cut of whatever.
Yeah. Well, I love
some fan out there's doing it. Yeah.
I love a good, and now some of them are really bad, and comic guys will get it, but I love a good issue 0. A really good issue 0.
Yep.
What's this? Invincible issue 0. Oh, so good. Oh, really good.
Wow. That's great. I had a great time doing this.
Yeah, man.
And I can't wait to come back and do it again. We're going to reconvene on Sunday night. We'll cover the first 3. Love the naming convention on the first 3, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Throws it right back to Yoda.
Doesn't it? Yeah, exactly.
You could literally switch the names of the episodes, I found.
I thought,
and if you were to call the first the Andy's 3 episodes, these 3 episodes in order, they work.
They do. Yeah. I actually thought with the naming convention of the first 3 that was going to carry right through, and we were going to get all of them. And we didn't. If you haven't watched them yet, you still got some time. Go watch Tales of the Empire. Come back on Sunday. We'll break down the first 3 episodes for you. This is the one about Morgan Elsbeth. Spoiler: she dies.
Not in this show.
Not in this show, but yeah.
No.
We learned a lot. That's for sure.
We do.
All right, you guys got anything you want to talk about before we shut it down for the night?
No, that was hella good. And in retro, is it retrospect or In hindsight, it's
Hindsight.
probably good we didn't do 6 because we would have been another 4-hour banger.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Gaz.
Oh,
Nice.
that's perfect. That is a great comment.
Nice.
Yes, says, let's petition them to do a Jawa Jedi story.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm gonna organize it again this year. I missed a few years, COVID,
Bring
and all
your
that stuff.
bring your
but
Jawa to work.
Bring your
day.
Jawa to work day on Instagram. I had a couple of years. I got some great traction with that. We'll get it hopping again this
I think
winter.
that's going to be fun. Yeah,
we'll
do
it's
it.
a lot of fun.
For me, it means bringing it down here in front of the camera with me.
Yeah, fine. Yeah,
Bring them off the shelf.
bring your Jawa to school day, whatever it is you jam on. I
Yep,
think the second year I did it was a Saturday, so it was everybody at home anyway.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun though. Like people love to participate in fun stuff
Jam
like
with
that.
your Jawa day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring your Wookiee to Wednesdays or something.
Nice.
We'll jam it up.
TIE Fighter Thursdays.
There it is.
Yeah, Trandoshan Tuesdays.
Whew.
Anyway,
Nonstop.
we could keep going. We could do this every day.
Mandalorian
Mando.
Monday.
Yeah.
Mando Mondays.
Yeah, you
Yep.
got it.
All right, everybody. That's it for us. I hope you guys had a great time, as much fun as we did. We will be back on Sunday, as I said, with parts 1 through 3 of Tales of the Empire.
prequels.
Yeah, and stay tuned as there is lots more in the pipeline coming from us here at Fandom Power. So that being said, whatever your thing is, everybody, remember, fan on. And for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Hank.
And we will all see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.